For the last week, one metal has been on my mind. I read about it and impressed me so much that it might be time to reevaluate how we think about metal that we always see on the periodic table. I mean, it is just a metal, but no. Cadmium, a transition metal, has the chemical symbol of Cd. Cadmium is located on the D block and 12th group of the periodic table, possessing an atomic number of 48 and atomic mass of 112 grams. That is the basic knowledge for now, so let me tell you a story about cadmium. Cadmium was discovered by German chemist Friedrich Strohmeyer in 1870 as an impurity in zinc oxide. Strohmeyer made his discovery after a request from the government to inspect the pharmacy in the town of Germany. In those days, zinc oxide was used to treat skin condition. For some reason, this town pharmacy were selling zinc carbonate rather than usual zinc oxide. Strohmeyer was aware that heating zinc carbonate until it was red hot would convert it to the oxide. He did this with samples from the pharmacy. He found that the brilliant white carbonate turned into an oxide which ought to have been white but was in fact yellow in the color. Normally, this color would suggest iron or lead contaminant, but Strohmeyer could not find any trace of these elements. He visited the factory in Salzgitter where the pharmacy had bought the zinc carbonate. He asked why they were selling zinc carbonate instead of the usual oxide. The manager explained to him that their zinc carbonate was the expected color, white, and it was easy to sell. When they tried to convert the carbonate to the oxide by heating, it always turned yellow. Since zinc oxide ought to be white, they could not sell it. They had to analyze it carefully for the iron contamination, but they could not find anything. Strohmeyer then decided he would analyze this yellow zinc oxide carefully himself. He found the yellow color was caused by the presence of a peculiar metallic oxide. He extracted this new metal oxide from the zinc oxide and then reduced it to isolate the world's first ever boom, cadmium metal. Strohmeyer suggested the name of cadmium after cadmia, the Latin name for calamine. Calamine is an old name for a zinc ore. Now, let's talk about its properties. Cadmium and its compound are highly toxic. Cadmium toxicity occurs when a person breathes in high level of cadmium from the air or eats food or drinks water containing high level of cadmium. Cadmium is a naturally occurring metal. It is usually present in the environment as a mineral combined with other elements like oxygen, chlorine, or sulfur. When cadmium enters the air, it binds to small particles. It falls to the ground or into water in rain or snow and may contaminate fish, plants, and animals. Improper waste disposal and spills at hazardous waste sites may cause cadmium to leak into nearby water and soil. Either short-term or long-term exposure to cadmium can cause serious health issues. Next, cadmium is a soft, malleable, ductile, and bluish-white metal which is easily cut with a knife. Wait, why cadmium is a soft metal? Cadmium is a soft metal as they have an especially stable electronic configuration which fulfills stable configuration. Hence, the metallic bonds are present in them are weak. They can easily oxidize to the +2 oxidation state. It is an excellent electrical conductor also and shows good resistance to corrosion and attack by chemicals. It is similar in many respects to zinc in its chemical properties, and cadmium tarnishes in air and is soluble in acids but not in alkali. Last but not least, the metal burns in air to form brown cadmium oxide. Okay, we already know some of its property, but does it benefit us? Before we go any further, in case any of you confused what is the difference between property and advantage, property is that something that is owned, while advantage is any condition or opportunity particularly favorable to success or to any desired end. So we continue with the advantage of the cadmium. First advantage, thinner layers. Cadmium as well as its alloy can be electroplated in a very thin layer. This thin even coating can be achieved on highly detailed or complex shape, making it an ideal material for electrical connector coatings and other applications where extremely thin layers are necessary for facilitating tight connections. Secondly, corrosion resistant. Cadmium provides incredible resistance to corrosion compared to other metals. In most cases, corrosion resistance is tested with a constant barrage of salt spray. Cadmium can handle over 1,000 hours of salt spray without exhibiting signs of rusting, making it incredibly useful in applications where resistance to corrosive element is key in naval applications. Cadmium also provides protection from galvanic corrosion, which is a corrosion that occurs between two metals come into electrical contact with one another. This is an extremely important factor in aerospace and military applications. Thirdly, lubricity. Cadmium provides a very low coefficient of friction, which means it moves easily against other surface without much resistance or wear. This is especially important for applications where parts need to last for long period without much maintenance, such as military or aerospace applications. Then, conductivity. Cadmium is very electrically conductive material. This quality makes it useful in applications requiring electrical conductivity, such as electrical connected finishes. This conductivity also makes cadmium useful for shielding equipment from electromagnetic interference. Because of the benefits that I told you earlier, cadmium was considered a cost-effective and long-lasting material for various industries for decades. Even today, cadmium has its use in the aerospace, marine, and nuclear industry. The pattern of cadmium uses has changed in recent years. In the past, cadmium was mainly used in the electroplating of metal and in pigment or stabilizer for plastic. In 1960, the engineering coatings and plating sector accounted for over half the cadmium consumed worldwide, but in 1990, this had declined to less than 8%. Nowadays, cadmium nickel battery manufacturers consume 55% of the cadmium output, and it is expected that this application will expand with the increasing use of rechargeable battery and their potential use for electric vehicle. In many respects, cadmium has become a vital component for modern technology, with countless applications in the electronics, communication, power generation, and aerospace industries. Now, let's look into it one by one. Battery. Cadmium metal helps produce battery, particularly rechargeable nickel-cadmium batteries. In everyday application, nickel-cadmium battery have power products such as cordless power tools, cell phones, camcorder, portable computer, portable household appliances, and toys. Nickel-cadmium batteries also have extensive applications in the railroad and aircraft industry for ignition as well as emergency power. Secondly, cadmium pigment help create brilliant yellow, orange, red and maroon pigment in paints and coating and are added to plastic to give them color. Artists Henri Matisse and Claude Monet used cadmium pigment to create their well-known works of art, for example. As a pigment, cadmium can stay bright even after exposure to sunlight. Its opacity is especially useful when it comes to tinting plastic, for example, in coloring the red bags used for infectious hospital waste and in protecting the PVC cladding on wires and cables against heat and light. Thirdly, in metal manufacturing and finishing processes such as galvanizing and electroplating, cadmium helps keep metal from corroding. Lastly, about PVC stabilizer. Cadmium-containing stabilizers are not used in US manufacturing or food contact plastic. They may be used in polyvinyl chloride (PVC), used to make products such as window and door frames, water and drain pipe, hoses, and electrical insulation. In this application, they help keep the material from degrading, for instance, from exposure to heat and UV rays from sunlight.
So, what do you think about cadmium? Feel free to leave a comment below. That's all from me.
Thank you for watching.